Yeah, class is just in a few days, you know, and there's always a lot going on around here to get the class ready. So it's crazy, baby. Listen, I want to definitely thank each and every one of you. And sorry for the video yesterday. I was a little emotional yesterday, but, you know, you all are so beautiful. And to see you coming out of suffering does my heart well. When people suffer, it gets to me. I don't know why. It's really bad. And so I'm so happy to see all of you getting your remedies. I think that it's way past time. So you have to understand that each and every one of you that are allowing yourselves to open up and to grow are becoming vehicles for the Creator. Because if you notice, things are getting out of balance. Look at the 3 teens from Iowa or Idaho or wherever that went to join ISIS. I mean, you see so much of stuff going on right now. We've lost at this level, it seems like, ethics and love and all the things that help one to realize that we each come from the same source and we each should love each other equally. And so this has been very coarse planet. So you're essential in helping to bring this planet into a balance, more of a positive balance, at least to keep the negative forces in some degree of check, because it's like developing acidosis. It's all consuming. And if you don't have those of you channeling the higher consciousness, how does it get here? You know, a lot of people that don't understand consciousness and God and all this think that an infinite being can make itself physical and that someday God will appear to everyone. And the unfortunate part about that is it already does through each and everything it's created. And when you awaken, you become more of that in the way you carry yourself and in the way you give yourself to others. Because when you get your sukha, when you get what you know and you need, when you reach the totality of it, when you have your answers, you start settling down and relaxing and realize you've made it. You've all made it. You're making it. And you just relax and let go more and let go. Just let the universe work through you. That's why I've been kind of telling you the little tales that I have about Fubi Quant sitting here talking to me and other things, because we still come in here because they're doing it to you too. And you have to understand that just by listening and becoming more aware, you will see and hear things that you didn't before because you were too busy thinking, too busy talking. You know, Fubi Quant once said to me, he said, stop thinking and stop talking, and there's nothing you won't know. I got it immediately. I said, sorry, I'm in my own way. And I didn't realize that, you know. So, you know, when you throw a pebble into a lake, you see the ripples going out. So you know that every action, and I talked about this yesterday in the video about karma driven, or you reap what you sow, or basically for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. It's simply cause and effect. Every single thing out there. We label things, whether we like it or not like it or whatever, but things just are the way they are. There's no labels, there's nothing on them. We label, we call things diseases. We're the ones that label. In reality, things just are what they are. Everything's cause and effect. What you create, you experience. And if you open yourself to others' creation, you'll experience theirs too. So that's part of the learning lesson of becoming strong within the self. Understanding consciousness first, because if you understand this creation is totally the mind. The mind is the creating element of creation. Mind is like supplements. Consciousness is like whole foods, consuming whole foods. Supplements are an aspect of whole foods. They are never more powerful than the whole. The parts are never more powerful than the whole of anything. So this is also true In spirituality, it's also true in health, it's also true everywhere. So when someone says supplements are better for you than the food they came from, excuse me, because we isolate, we tear apart, we break up bonds that are set by the Creator. And when you look around, there's no way, I personally think, I can out-create the Creator, since I'm a part of that Creator anyway. There's no way. So it's just kind of settling into your own beauty and your own joy and your own bliss and your own love. And at the same time, recognizing that we're just seeing a world of creation where souls are lost in thought, in mind. And there's the social consciousness where people gather together and they play with a certain idealism or belief system, and then you get friends and others, and pretty soon you build a religion or you build whatever out of that. But that is not God. Those that make up those systems are God. They're just playing the game here. And that's all this is. And it'll end. You have birth, life, and death, always. The transition, the movement. You always want to realize that you're going to grow. Things get better, 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 expanded more for you. There's no going back. Hinduism believes that you have transmigration or whatever. I don't know of any spiritual being that's ever said anything like that. Karma driven. Things are always moving by cause and effect. I had down in South Texas, I had a Mexican man tell me one day in a lecture that I was giving on out-of-body travels that he every night went out of his body and he felt himself into this leopard. He could feel, he was the leopard. He felt his paws on the wet night ground. He felt the hunt for the prey. He experienced that whole thing about every night. And I told him, I said, man, I can help you get out of that experience. And he said, why? And when you say that, there's nothing you can do. He enjoys going back into a past life or whatever, even into a body like that. Remember, these are just levels of consciousness or states of consciousness. It doesn't matter the embodiment. I could tell you stories that you'd probably freak out about, experiences that the Master sent me through that really gave me a deep insight into plant consciousness, animal consciousness, and everything else. But, some people get freaked out at talking about deeper levels of the universes and stuff, and some people are scared. And so this is, I'm hoping to make you all strong for this. So bringing things into balance, very important to me, that consciousness is the only thing can bring itself into balance. The mind cannot bring itself into balance because it isn't of itself consciousness. It's a body just like the physical body, but much different. All these things. But it's just what, at this level, souls have awakened to, what they've discovered about where they're from and how these worlds are put together. So it's kind of exciting. I love all that. We've got to get out of this stagnation. This planet is so stagnant that it's like whirling down a drain. And there's more warring and stuff like this. At the same time, there's more spirituality. It's all over the place. But in that, you have myriad levels. From your channelers and psychics and things like this. The trouble is, you must be careful. All of you guys that want to be channelers or psychics. That's not how you really want to live it. It doesn't matter if you see something about someone else. Everyone must learn how to view their own Akashic records. Opening yourself up. I saw that happen once of an individual that was warned by the Masters not to do this. And I was involved with him. And he later became involved. They told him not to open up in certain ways, and he did. And then the reptilians. And you say what you want, but let me tell you, when Jesse Ventura does a show about reptilians, and you just understand that we have beings here that don't have the same physical bodies we do. And you just at some point in time in your lives have to open up to what's going on that's much larger. What's funny? We're the only country that doesn't share UFO information with our people. Isn't that funny? America. America isn't what you think it is. When Russia shares their information with the public about UFOs and they're excited and they want to, I look at the American and go, what's wrong with us? Well, because we work with them, right? I mean, go back to Ronald Reagan. You can tell we work with them. I can already tell you. So it's amazing. Deepak probably knows more about that than I do because he's been up there, I think, at Mount Rainier, up in that Mount Washington area, where there's a lot of sightings and landings and things like that. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you all and appreciate all your love. And anytime I can help someone not suffer, I'm going to do it. Because it just, death, you move from one place to another. Big deal, get used to it. We're all going to leave. But suffering isn't in the order of things. But it's karma-driven. So what this is an opportunity to unwind your karma. The masters have given it to me and millions of others, and this is the way God set it up. It's time for a lot of you that are sit here, and you see the younger people opening up. These are the golden children. These are the children they call the Aquarian, and then you got all different names that they have for these souls that are coming in that have a higher order to them. When I look at a 15-year-old young man today, he has a lot more awareness than I had at 15 back then. And you're seeing them opening up spiritually. I've had young people talk to me about out-of-body experiences and things like this, and it just shows you that God's sending in the troops. I've had images of of souls on each side coming into this world to make changes. So it is, and I think it's fun. It's fun. And don't let that take you off your point. This is a site about health, no question about it. But I can't stop interwoven spirituality. I can't do it. I'm being told take the kid gloves off, and I'm going, well, so let's just see what happens. But rapid changes, even we were talking about this earlier, there's rapid changes coming, and we must be ready for it. Powerful, strong, and loving. Loving. Let's see this. This is from Roger. Oh, Roger. Hey, Roger. While listening to question and answer 71, at one point you spoke about starting a naturopathic school. I found this particularly interesting in that one of my sources a couple of weeks ago talked about starting the mystery schools back up again. Something profound is going on here. Oh, absolutely. No, I'm going to tell you, absolutely profound. I mean, I'm getting kicked every day, and it's just like, it's now opening even doors in my world even more now. And I'm going, okay, because the one psychic said, why are you holding back for? And one psychic told another lady, he's holding back. I don't know why he's holding back. Well, I guess now it's time to open and not hold back. So I don't know what all that meant on all levels, but all I've got to say is there is something profound coming here. And we need a good mystery schools. And I don't like the word mystery because it makes like it's only for those that, it's not. It's only mystery because people choose to be unconsciousness souls. But again, that's not their fault. That's the rhythm of creation. And we can't disturb that nor want to. Karma driven. But there are plenty of souls that it's time to wake up and go to their next journey, to go home. Plus, we want to bring this realm up just a little higher in its vibrational frequencies. This is a very chemical low level of God, and you can see why the spirituality is essential right now, being in Hinduism the Kali Yuga, meaning the final yuga within the cycles of this physical universe. However you determine that, And anyway, I agree with you, Roger. I'm telling you, I feel it every day now. And it's like, my question about how to eat in the winter. I live in the southeast coast of Massachusetts, and it can bring a long, cold winter. We had some ice form in the ocean water here as late as the second weekend in March. To my knowledge, this has never happened before. I tell you, I think we're cooling off in some places and maybe warming up in others, but I don't think the whole globe is warming up. Florida has never been as cool. I've been here since I was a little tot. My dad built a house on Anna Maria Island here in 1950. So I came down as a baby. I went to my first grade here, and I can say plenty of days of 102, 103. I never see 102, 103 here. It's rare. And it's just getting cooler every year. You can feel it. So I don't know. All I can say is we are a tropical species, and it is difficult. And the more, the more fruitarian you are, and In the wintertime, I just don't see how you can be a fruitarian without using teas and things to warm you up. And not that I'm advocating fruitarianism. It would be nice, but we just don't have the fruit availability. We don't have the organic availability. We don't have the farmers willing to pick it ripe, at least close to that, to get it to markets, and markets willing to fly in things quicker. It's all about the finances, and it's just true. Juggling all this. Instead of the way man is looking at each other, we should be all putting ourselves together. How can we build pyramid greenhouses in Iraq? How can we build pyramid greenhouses out in Idaho? How can we build greenhouses like this that can support mature fruit trees and groves? Huge places to where we can serve the multitudes fruit. And the only way you're going to feed them is through fruits. Because you all pretty probably familiar with that whole thing that, one cow feeds 20 people, but takes 5 acres of land to feed the cow. That same 5 acres in vegetables can feed 5,000 people, and that same 5 acres in fruit trees can feed 10,000 people. So that's the sort of thing that I see overpopulation has to do is change, because having farmlands and animals and slaughtering, that's antiquated, dark agey. Killing of a being is not really fun that way, just to eat it. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not into that level of thinking. But a lot of people are. I have a hard time seeing how humans can see animals as food. And I was somewhere and I was looking into this beautiful little fountain thing that had fish in it. And there were some young kids around. One kid was about 10. And I said, "Look at those beautiful fish." And he goes, "Oh, supper." I'm going, "Ah." So I can say that warm teas, steamed vegetables, I think that you always should through the daytime. I try to equate daytime with more light, more energy, more self-control. Nighttime, more emotional, more family, more social consciousness. So I look to maybe more salads and steamed vegetables at night, although you really shouldn't go to bed with too heavy a food in the body. It's just irritating. But still, if you can do good through the day when the sun's out, and then at night when it's cold down and the emotions come, and darkness equals unconsciousness and things like that, maybe something comfort stuff or something, because nothing's perfect. So taking humans that are migrated outside of the tropics and making them tropical isn't easy. But notice how it cures you. That's the amazing thing. You can cure anything with that. So it's obvious that it's the type of diet that we're designed for. Not only can you cure anything, but it's just so easy to eat. Your body feels so good. You feel so light. You feel happy. You don't feel constipated and acidic and stiff and tight. And your consciousness is open. You're not thinking and rattling too much. You respect others. You're not lost in your own little shallow worlds that don't mean anything, because it's just creation. It's just creation. It's how creation is fooling you. And you waste eons of time playing in these fields of dreams. Fun thing to do if you're consciously aware of doing it. Hard to be consciously aware of playing in the physical world, because it is so mundane and claustrophobic to those that are aware of the higher worlds. Sometimes it's just so claustrophobic for me here, I just can't breathe. It's just, and if you want something that's even more claustrophobic, go back into plant consciousness. You want something that'll really take you into some extreme claustrophobia? Whew, man. Last summer I did the detox and stayed with it from mid-June to just around Thanksgiving. Good man. It was at the point I had great difficulty to what to eat, I'm sure. I felt that staying completely raw at this time wasn't going to work. I did fall back on another system and ate as much raw as I could. And I think that's a good idea. I think that, having a salad with some steamed vegetables, maybe some vegetable soup, things like that, just get rid of the crap out of it. Get rid of the meats, get rid of those things. But no one's over anybody with a club, and being really cold and alkaline like that isn't, it drives you into something warm. There's no question about all that. For you that have, extreme acidotic problems where you've been labeled with cancers and things like this, I suggest that you bundle up, take some warm Heal All teas, and plow through it. because your life, your physical body's life is at stake. Not you, your physical body's life is at stake. So you've got to, pay attention to that and fix those things that are immediate, and then you're done. And then you can, nobody's over anybody with a club here. And most of you are going to balance out. There's nothing wrong with that. Let the purists holler and scream. Everybody balances out to some degree or another because you want your life to go on. You want to ride on this beautiful wave you're on, and you want to ride it and get bigger and open. You don't want to go back. You want to keep opening the new adventure, the new awareness. You don't want to go back. Going back isn't good, and you can't go back too long because it's stifling to you. Now that we are heading to the colder weather, I find I still have the same concerns. Any suggestion would be greatly appreciated. I've been aware of the videos available, but it wasn't until lately that I have really spent time with them. Some great material. Oh, thanks, man. Well, Roger, thanks, but I think, that's about what you have to do. Now, I like those, the Alaska, the Last Frontier and stuff like that, and I was watching their new one. And it's actually, they were dealing with their cattle, and they were saying that it's better to be cold and dry and yet warm and damp. How interesting, isn't it? So that's alkaline. But with that said, hard to grow vegetables, and with warm and damp, this one younger female just had the baby. Her vegetables were all starting to grow. They weren't cold enough in the root cellar. Wasn't cold enough in the ground. Any of you guys check, I know I'm one of those things, but someone in my household watches Kelly and, used to be Kelly and Regis, now it's Kelly and Michael. They had Annie Lennox on there in her new album. My God! She blew it out the water this morning. Holy crap. I think she's an incredible Annie Lennox. But her new album is unreal. And one of her songs there just blew me away this morning. That was good. This is David. Hi, David. I recently increased my intake of fruit. In particular, I have been drinking lemon juice every morning. That's a good idea. And mainly watermelon and grapes during the day. Now, that's a fantastic idea. I would normally still eat cooked food once a day, though at the moment I have also recently started taking your Lymphatic 1. Fantastic. I have been finding pink-colored sediment in my urine. Okay. After refrigerating, it looks clear. My question is whether this is a sign of proper filtration. I read online that this is what? But I have no idea if this is a good or bad sign. Why they attach these incredible names to things. All I can say is that you have to make sure that it's not blood. A lot of people have major kidney problems, and there is a little occult blood in their or a little blood in their urines. And some people also have it in the stools, of course. Lymphatic 1 is a fairly gentle formula. If you have blood in your urine, then you've got some serious inflammation in the kidneys. You might want to take a urine sample to a lab just for the fun of it and have them check it. But there is mucus, there is sulfur, there's chemicals, there's all kinds of colors that come out in the urine. But also, there's a lot of people with kidney problems, and when you start going into the kidneys there, you could experience some a little, just like a little bleeding when you get mucus out of the nose or out of the lungs, because it's so acidic that your capillaries are getting thin and they bleed a lot into the mucus. But it's possible that you have that. So either way, I would want to check, of course. If I thought it was more strawberry, more blood-looking, pink-looking like that, reddish-looking maybe, orange would be more sulfur, that you might have a little blood in there. That would be your kidneys, and that would be a little serious. If you do that, ask them for abundant creatinine level, and just check your prostate while you're there. That's only a small little amount of blood work they can check. So, it might be something to look at there. That would be concernful. I would probably back down to the lymphatic tincture of 1-3 times a day and then go on 2 kidney formulas. Because and just see if that had anything to do. But the Lymphatic 1, lymphatics don't make you bleed, but there are strong astringents. So it could be, like I said, a weakness in your kidneys, and you'd want to make check that out. Also, I would probably, just for your knowledge, because there's nothing you can do about it except what you're doing, I also would drink Hillall tea probably regularly throughout the day to get some healing done into those kidneys, if that is blood from them. Secondly, I would like your view on whether you believe male pattern baldness is really hereditary. No, but I do believe the tissue, anything that's a cell is inherent. There's no question. All cells are inherent. So every cell you have, whether they're scalp cells, whatever, follicle cells, wherever, that's inherent. But the reason that we get bald, the weaknesses that create the acidosis, that's past. Because you don't pass inherent fluid problems, because fluids are based in chemistry and ever-changing. So fluids isn't what's inherent, but cells are. The consciousness of each cell. And remember, if you apply a cell as a human, you'll see it has a memory, it has emotions, and it's hard to equate the spirituality of life to a cell. But you can't get here. Remember those in class. You can't get here to this world, anything get here to this world without coming through the God worlds. You can't anything here. A cell can't get here without a pattern through the mind. The mind is the controlling imager of all creation. And so anything that's here has to go through the universal mind, through the causal mind, through the emotional body, and to the physical self, physical side of that. Whatever it is. I don't care what it is. Even crystals have consciousness. We all know that. We know that gems have consciousness. Remember the book, Guardians of the Gemstone Masters. Or the Masters of the Guardians of the Gemstones, or whatever it is. Anyway, incredible books. But it just shows you that life, everything is breathing with a certain awareness. Even books have consciousness to them, because you have put your energy into it. Everything is energy. There's nothing dead. I mean, it becomes enlightening and innervating. Not innervating, but, energetic. Apologies if you have answered any of these questions before. I don't worry about it, Dave. Appreciate the question there, man. But, it's true that cold. And, of course, as you get the fat off of you, because fruits don't build fat so much, you even get colder. Because you're a tropical species, you're dealing with the heat. And so now we're trying to get well through the diet we're supposed to be eating and living in areas that are not conducive to that. So it's difficult, there's no question about it. But you guys are strong. You are the cream of the crop. You can't be at this level and not be a strong soul, let me tell you. There will be souls come to us and then flip off. I've seen that in our clinic, that if you come into this clinic and you want a job, and you have any ego or you have any problems, God will spin you out of here. It's funny. We've seen that through the years. You got to have a pure heart to work here, because it'll find it and it'll spin you out of here. And it's just like it'll spin you off of our site too, because you're just not ready for this level. Because we're going to get more intense, more open at this site, because it's essential. Our survival of the human consciousness is essential, but at a better level and more balance. And you watch what you're learning and what you're teaching is just doing the very thing. Even if people these souls just grab a little bit of it. Doesn't matter if they do the whole thing. If they grab just a little bit of it, their future, they will remember. Soul will remember, and it'll get through to the being. So nothing's ever wasted that you do. Don't feel like if you talk to someone and then turn away and walk away that was wasted. Nothing's ever wasted. Sometimes people can just take a little bit and they'll come back later. We have clients coming back 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. They couldn't take it in the moment. But we ran them long enough to where they felt so good and their symptoms went away that they went, wow, this is good. But then, again, the cold or this or that family, things like this, the mind came in and said, oh, but just think of that piece of steak, or just think of that baked potato with all that sour cream and crap on it. Just think of that. And so then they break down, and then life pulls them away. The mind pulls them away. That's why get out of your minds. That's when you're in the most control, when you're out of your mind. I know it sounds crazy. But one is consciousness and one is thought. Hi, Dr. Morris. This is Monique. Once you were asked on a video, how does someone replenish the good bacteria in a lymph node after long-term antibiotic use? And you replied, that really is the golden question, and we don't really know the answer yet. Well, you know what? I'll be honest, we're talking about microorganisms. I personally feel your body is a revolving door. Through any orifice or anywhere, you carry in microbes in and out of you. I mean, take a look at Ebola, the virus, and this goes for any virus. You know, a lot of times they lie to us. You know, and HIV was the same way. No virals were airborne. Oh no? You know, so why, you know, now you have to suit up and not leave anything open. Airborne. I mean, I'm just saying that life moves in and out constantly. Now, when man creates some bad things, that can be more serious. And those people that are going to fall to these strong germ warfare virals are those that are the most toxic. Those that are least toxic will always survive. And you guys are removing your toxicity and you're cleaning your culturing medium or your terrain. So virals will be dealt with quite easily in you guys. It's those that are the most toxic that are going to pay the price. But that's karma. You reap what you sow. Cause and effect. Just people have not been told this. You still listen to the news. This is all just superficial crap. And you just hear all these medical doctors and these high people talking superficial crap. They don't know anything, about health, viruses, bacteria. All they know is to kill. Well, these are proteins. Virals are proteins. I don't think killing is something you can do to them. But maybe you can destroy a virus with an acid. Whew. Chemotherapy for everybody. Just say a person has nuked themselves with antibiotics but has detox. That's why I was saying I think that bacteria will reseat themselves within the body fairly easy. I've said this before. I built custom homes for a living for a few years just to survive, you know. And I put in a lot of new septic systems. And, you know, other builders would say, don't you seat your septic tanks? You know, put bacteria in it, you know, to get it going? I said, hell no. Nature seats everything quite nicely for you. And by the way, you can't stop that. You know, we were talking about that one time. I was watching a hunter movie, and this guy aimed on a big buck, shot the buck. And by the time him and the cameraman walked over to this big buck, flies are already beat him. Flies were already around the buck. That's how fast nature responds. Needs those atoms, thank you. You know? And then consciousness is absorbed into a higher consciousness. That animal is now absorbed into a higher level. I could tell you stories that would freak you out. I'm just not going to do that. But I have been looking into fecal implantation. The insertion of someone else's platinum standard tested and approved stool. But are you serious? You're not serious. I'm not reading this right. By a colonoscopy of enema, and the results look really quite promising as a once-off treatment. You're not serious, right? Not as a cure, but as a stepping stone to Wellville, along with your guidance and support. Are you serious? You're going to have implanted a sterile fecal matter from someone else into you? Why don't you just drink your own urine? Or cook your fecal matter and have it for supper. I mean, Jesus Christ. Come on, man. You can't do stuff like, I mean, this is how desperate, though, people are. And man is to come up with shit like this, literally speaking. This is ridiculous. Health is assured if you just change your diet and you get your body cleaned up. Health is assured to you. Understand there's a process to get there, and it's not always a happy one. More pain, more skin problems maybe, thinness. But you're taking Hellville to Wellville. So you can expect stuff like that. Remember that? When you tear down an old car and rebuilding it, it ain't going to look too good for a while. You're going to it's going to look worse than you did before because you're going to tear it apart. Then when you get it all put together, painted and sanded and everything good, it's going to be beautiful. And that's where each of you are going. Some of you already got there. You're beautiful. So, get away from this sort of thinking. We've got a mad world out there. Now, I've never heard of this. I got to tell them, this is incredible. We know now from the obesity twin FMT trials that gut bacteria diversity is everything. You know what? Understand that you're trying to override God and nature. Bacteria seats itself depending upon the involvement. You've got bacteria for iron, metals, you got bacteria for fruits, you got different bacteria for proteins and proteolytics, you got a different seeded bacteria. That's why the acidophilus and bifidus and stuff didn't work. Because it's more dairy bacterium. So now people learn, okay, now we're going, it's like, why are you playing these games? These are games. They lead to not Wellville. And they're gross games. So I think you're off beat here. No offense, Monique, but I think wrong, bad. I no longer think there is such a thing as bad bacteria, and don't, because there is no bad and good. Man labels bad when it goes against his nature. Let's say you eat all this dairy and all this meat in your body and proteins, and you're germinating these more proteolytic bacterium and virals. Don't get upset with that. And don't get upset if you choose to accept the medical doctor's theory that killing bacteria is how you cure diseases. Because that isn't true. It never has been. Never will, because they aren't the creator of diseases. There's no such thing as diseases, first of all. But if there was, bacteria is not the creator of them. They're only involved in the process of getting well, in the process of nature. And nature, the way nature works, we must learn nature's rules. Man spends all this time creating his own theories instead of observing nature and how nature works. And we have to have, nature is science. It's proper science. We can't create a science and say, we're trying to figure out, and we're trying to have this theory and that theory, and we're treating millions of people with these theories. Of course, millions of them are dying from the theories. I mean, this is all insanity stuff. We need to take a washcloth and clean the steam off the shower door and say, we need some clarity here. And you guys are the only ones that can give them clarity, because you're learning clarity. And we must always stand strong with clarity. And when crap like this comes up, vomitous, that's ridiculous. And there are trillions of types. Now they are saying 10 to each one human cell. It seems to me that you've got to get away from man's thinking. If you're going to dwell in man's thinking, it'll tear you apart. It'll leave you shallow. It'll leave you always inferior. It'll leave you out of control. And there's nothing you can do about your own health. But observance, maybe someone will find the truth somewhere. You have total power to regain your health, and it's simple. And it's just change the diet to the foods that suit your anatomy and physiology, and use the herbs to clean and rebuild different tissues in the body. You've learned about the lymph, you've learned about the kidney. Your body's simplistic. Don't go into the microbe world and think you know how to deal with the microbes. You got these guys that wear white coats and stethoscopes and think they know how to deal with bacteria and stuff like that. They're like, we got some serious problems here. And it's a lack of consciousness, a lack of awareness. It doesn't have to be, because each one of those people are souls too that can at any given moment have God consciousness. At any given moment, they can let go of their idiocy and let go of creation, just like you guys are, and find their succor in God consciousness. And now they're home, and now they can start healing people instead of playing these little shallow games of urine consumption, stool implantation, giving people a lot more fungus or a lot more bacterium or all kinds of crap that's out there, or tying stomachs around esophaguses or removing tissues out of the body when they can be rebuilt, or fork over one of your extra kidneys that you have. Whew. Bring me that strawberry daiquiri now! Or roll me a 10-foot joint. Whew. It seems to be that imbalance and lack of diversity is more the issue. You're a man of nature. Gardens do much better than organic homemade compost is needed. Right on, my dear. Well, yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, we got to find nature. You cannot isolate your physical body from nature. It is an integral part, atomically, of everything that exists here. And we move and breathe with the ebbs and tides of nature. Period. End of story. Physically. Understand who you are spiritually. And this is just a physical body, guys. I mean, man's taking this way out. And in the meantime, the bills keep going up. Medical doctors are insane. The ER docs charged me $800, and I saw him once for 5 minutes. I love him. Medical world is emergency medicine and surgery, period. Not healthcare. Healthcare has nothing to do with medical. Healthcare, they kill people by the millions in healthcare. They don't know anything about healthcare. But emergency medicine, when you're in pain at levels that nothing, of course, all these states took narcotics away from naturopaths, so we can't recommend narcotics even for ourselves. Sad stuff. In Florida, there was a war between because naturopathy was licensed years ago, and there was a war between the medical and the naturopaths, and people were abusing narcotics. And because medical doctors had the money and the influence, they won, and naturopaths got kicked out. We don't have any opiates. We don't have anything to go to. We have to go to what pharmaceuticals make for pain control, especially at some of these advanced levels of pain, these chronic levels of pain. And that's why you start learning how to deal with pain. And in the class, this is one level we're going to talk about, is chronic cases, of course. These advanced cases, how you get them. And chronic pain is going to be one of the levels we're going to talk about. It seems that, all right, here. So doesn't it also make sense that what you call dying, fermented foods, are actually just a bunch of molecules containing thriving, living bacteria? It is. Of course it is. It is causing living bacteria. Why would you put more in your body for? I mean, yes, when you take antibiotics and you kill your bacteria, but I think you'll find that once you get the sulfurs and things out of your body, that's going to keep killing them for a while and keep them suppressed. Once you clean the body out, it'll reseed itself quite aptly into fruits and the foods that you're eating, because each food almost has its own bacterium for it. And yes, fermented foods are dead, but you forget one important thing: chemistry and energy. Because as those foods are dying, bacteria are doing the thing it needs to do to them. Give us the atoms again. We need the atoms again. Remember, we're in a constant need of atoms here because we're overpopulating. We're having this, and if we're going to bring babies into this world at this level, we're going to level the planet, because we can't bring souls in here without getting atoms from things. So we have to destroy things to be able to have population growth. And it's just this way everywhere. You just understand, Adam. We just have a huge Lego set here. The Earth is a huge Lego set, and we don't have any more pieces. But it makes sense in that way. And absolutely, you have fermentation. But there's a point where this isn't good for the human body. Notice fermentation causes gas, chest pain, belching, farting, all these things like that. None of that's healthy. See what I'm saying? So putting that back into your body isn't something that I would think was cool at all. Ingesting these like sauerkraut, raw milk, or honey. No, not at all. Honey doesn't germinate bacteria, by the way, and raw milk is totally mucus-forming and nasty, very lymphatically compromising. Sauerkraut's nasty. Even as just as once off might be a good idea. I can tell all you have to do is go barefooted and walk around nature for a while. You don't have to worry. Although, like compost and soil, the more broken down, the better. Yeah, but there's a level where no. You don't feed compost to living human bodies. You don't need to do that. We're at another level. You can't associate plant life and the way you feed plant life with the way you feed human cells. I don't see that as a connection in that way. Every level has its own needs, its own source of foods, and its own levels. Kind of like everybody's into minerals, but again, minerals are loved by plants, but plants convert minerals into salts. And then we come along and we like the salts. So, I mean, it's just all kinds of levels of chemistry. I think, no offense here, Monique, but get your head out of the ground and out of fermentation and things like this, because I disagree with that as being a healthy thing to consume. I bought into that when I had health food stores, and I consumed yogurt like it was no business. And you know what I did? I probably put all the mucus back in my body that I got out as a fruitarian before that. What I did eating in my health food stores probably set me back several years from what I accomplished. I didn't realize it. I thought it was healthy. But that's how we learn. And when we learn, I learn anyway. I like to share. Because I don't dwell in it. I don't have to hold anything for me. I'm totally got what I need. So I don't have any need for anything except time to go. You know, could this repopulating of good soldiers be the answer to the golden question of how to repopulate the lymph nodes? I think you got a good. I think your thinking is okay there, but no. Bacteria will reseed itself, my dearest one. And thanks from Australia, by the way. Say hi to all the good ones out there. I love you, Aussies. But it's enough to say, though, that you don't have to think about bacteria and things like that. It doesn't need to be in your thought processes. If you're having trouble in your gut, clean up your gut. Get your lymph system moving and fix that up. If you've been on long-term antibiotics, just keep working the diet, keep working the herbs. You'll find that your body's a revolving door, guys. They come in through everywhere. And it's just that they're microbes. We need electron microscopes. So you got to realize that they can move in and out of places with ease that it seems to be closed. So I don't think so, Mother. I wouldn't spend any more time going that way. And as far as the fecal implants, wow. Wow. Yeah, now, this is from Benetta. Dear Dr. Morse, in 1997, I had a heart transplant, and since then, I take the required medications, right? Since quite a few years, I have this idea always going around my head of no more taking these medications or these medicaments as the cells rejuvenate completely every 7 years. You know, I thought a lot about that idea of cells regenerate themselves every 7 years. Now think about this. If that was true, you wouldn't have advanced conditions because the cell could regenerate itself. But you see that when you morphidize or change the consciousness of a cell by acid injury or lowering the magnetic fields, whatever, just think of yourself when you're constipated, you're acidic, you can't think, you can't perform, you just want to close off. The cell's going to do the same thing, correct? So, if every cell replaced itself every 7 years, I would assume that there wouldn't be any advanced conditions beyond subacute. My first thought on that. Now you guys can share all you want on this one. I also think that if cells replicated themselves, that the French physicist that kept part of a chicken's heart alive for 20 years, famous research, to show you the essential need of cells getting fed and cleaned. The essential need of having nutrition but also lymphatic drainage. Proper. And when you look at that, I'm not sure those cells were replicating itself because you would have a whole chicken out of that eventually. Or at least the whole heart again. So I don't know. I don't know where I stand on that. I've learned through the years to be quite reserved at looking at what allopathic people say. Because from what we find, a lot of that crap just isn't true. But cells do replicate themselves, and part of the problem is when you mutate a cell and it replicates the mutation, just like genetics. But how do you mutate a cell? What side of chemistry mutates a cell? What side of chemistry damages the body more than the other side? What side of chemistry is the more healing side? You only have two to pick from. How simple. Acids are always the mutative side, no question about it. Alkalis are strong, but if you live on that side, you'll end up allopathic thinking, and that thinking doesn't cure anything. So when you're on the observation of the acid side of chemistry, we understand how we cure everything. So it's just in the response. You can have theories out there to hell freezes over all I care, but in actual practice, what are you seeing? When you stack allopathy to you guys can out-cure everyone on the planet now. And when you stack allopathy there, there's no cure value at all. There's no remedy for anyone. Only to take drugs the rest of your life or surgically remove, which is there can be good at those things. I'm only down on allopathic healthcare because there is no such thing. Allopathic emergency room, they could learn a lot more, but I love them. I mean, I needed them, and people need them. And I'm not opposed. I send people to them all the time. I just wish their awareness was greater. We could have found some fantastic emergency rooms, and they weren't ripping people, triple charging people for going into the ER. I mean, it's a major rip. Hospitals are the main cause of the fall of healthcare, in my opinion, of how they got out of balance charging people. It's insane how they're charging people and getting away with it. I don't know why our judicial system didn't go after them for stacking the cards and price fixing and all this kind of crap. Anyway, there's quite a few years I have this idea always going around my head. All right, I rejuvenate every 7 years. What is your opinion on this subject? I would very much appreciate your suggestion on this matter. Much love. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Well, I can tell you this. I've had a lot of transplant people in here, and I think any tissue can be regenerated, no matter if cells are from someone else or whatever. I think once you understand and accept, and the harmony is there, the energetic harmony, because you can feel that in consciousness. So once the energetic harmony and the acceptance is there on all levels, then you're going to have regeneration. And you're going back, you want to fix why you had the MI in the first, or why you had to have the open heart in the first place. You want to go back to that system that deals with the acids that destroy tissue. And that's going to take you into your kidneys. It's going to take you into your adrenal glands, which controls the nervous system that controls the heart, by the way, but also controls the sewer system in the heart. So this is important that you fix why you had the open heart to begin with. And while you're doing that, this new heart will rebuild itself. And you can titrate off of your meds if you wish. I mean, it's up to you. And see how your body responds. I would titrate very slowly, have a medical doctor help you with that if you want. And at the same time, you're rebuilding and strengthening. I would get the herbal heart formula because that is a blue ribbon formula. And cells love herbs because they're all part of the one. Everyone recognizes that. The mind is what separates things. Can you do water fasting if your adrenals are low and you get slightly hypoglycemic? That's a good question. Matter of fact, water is the universal solvent. And we've talked about whether distilled or energized, let's say spring water or something. I love both sides, so I don't know what to tell you. But it is the universal solvent. You detox better with water fasting, there's no question, stuff like that. When you start going on water fasts or fruits, even though they're aggressive and astringent-wise, they're also very energetic. And you notice that with the more energy you have, consciousness-wise, the more peaceful you are. Now, me, I can get things kicking, because I'm getting my butt kicked. But I can get kicking, but in my consciousness, I'm as quiet as a bird. But I can get my body going. But when you're low in energy, when you're irritated with acids, that makes things spastic and irritable. And the only way to get away from that, is cool everything down. And everything rests into a sense of peace and joy. Notice how you guys are getting your sense of peace and joy and love and security. You don't need security from others. You learn that you are your security. And that to love others is to enjoy others, not for your security, for your fun and your enjoyment. Not that you need someone else, another soul on another radical journey or something. No. That doesn't make for good relationships. But when you have weak adrenals, it will lower your blood pressure, it will lower your adrenals, because your adrenals, as the kidneys come down and start to settle down, and start to filter, it'll pull those adrenals down to your genetics every time. So you're not going to go below your genetics, but just watch that. Unless you've damaged them even more in this lifetime, then it is possible. But what we see in detox, even with an adrenal support, is that you're still going to go down to your genetic past. I don't know what that is, but you notice that when you're detoxifying, you go down to your genetics. And your genetics then is going showing you pain here, pain in the hip, pain there, this, that. And you look in your eyes and there it is, I see it. It's almost like nature shows you your weaknesses in different symptomologies before they're eliminated. How interesting. It's almost like you get to view your karma and then it's gone. But I would support my adrenals because being hypoglycemic isn't fun either. I was reading this thing again about magnesium and fructose, and there's a paper I had laying around. I was just getting madder the more I read about what she said. You know how magnesium metabolizes sugar. It's like, are you serious? The same gland metabolizes the sugars as metabolizes magnesium. I hate to tell her. And it's not involved, it can have mineral involvement, but it has steroid and hormone involvement, number one. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. People are crazy to think that fruits are bad for you because of the fructose. Oh, I got to puke. Simple sugar, got to puke. What exactly do you get? How exactly do you get your kidneys filtering? Good question, Delilah. Is there an herbal blend, or is it more about just drinking raw juices, exercising, and eating fruits as a diet? I think you are very right on with the advice you are giving people. Thanks for everything you are doing. Love you, dear one. You know what? That's a good question, even though well, first of all, we know the adrenal glands controls the kidneys. They sit on top of it, neurologically one. So let's look at the neurological side of kidneys, or any part of the body. When we look at the neurological side, we're looking at neurotransmitters from the adrenal glands. We know that the nervous system that the adrenal glands work with and control mostly is the autonomic. The autonomic, of course, has the sympathetic, parasympathetic side. You have two sides to that. One comes into the top and one comes into the adrenals. And remember, it wraps around with the optic nerves, how messages are sent to the worker bee, a nervous system, blah, 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 blah. But you have several neurotransmitters. You have your epinephrines, which is your epinephrine, norepinephrine. These are your adrenalins. This is fight or flight stuff, energy stuff, stuff like that. Low neurotransmitters, low energies, low epis and stuff. You notice how you use epi to get a heart started. Remember Dr. K last night, she put some epi right in the heart of that little bunny rabbit, trying to get that heart started because it's a stimulant. Then you have dopamines. A lot of people have heard of dopamines and acetylcholines. These are more neurotransmitters that are involved in elimination. Stress, all of these levels that man is involved in right now is keeping his epinephrines going, but is losing his dopamines. And you see, it's been said for years that MS patients have low dopamines and things like this. But when you understand that elimination is vital to the human body at every level you can conceive, as well as nutrition, you can't separate the two. They're opposite sides of the same coin, nutrition and elimination of its waste. You just can't. You have to have both of those working simultaneously. So that's why we say the four basic processes is essential for you to remember. Digestion, absorption, and utilization. That's in the nutritional side of it. So digestion is pancreas, gallbladder, stomach, small bowel. Absorption is small bowel, lymphatic, all of that, looking at that. Utilization is adrenal, steroids, hormones from the thyroid. What's the last one? And as essential as the first three, elimination. Eliminations are the byproducts of all these processes. Most of the processes of digestion, of course, is eliminated through the colon. But what about the processes of ionization, oxidation, and metabolism that deals with the cells? Where are those byproducts going? And that's where the kidneys come into play. They are essential, and that's where your skin comes into play. Understanding that these wastes are now acids, understanding all byproducts go into the acids, was why? Think about birth, life, and death, and the need to get atoms to make other forms. We must break down. That must be that process. But if you go to the breakdown process to get healthy, you're going to the wrong place. And that's where a lot of people are going. They're going to urine therapy, stool implantation, or whatever. You're going to the process of breaking down, thinking that's going to make you healthy. When you got your problem is your nutrition. Most people are not eating the foods that are built for the human body. So if you're not eating your high fruits and berries and melons that are ripe and everything, and at least having maybe a salad or something, you're really not eating foods that are harmonious to you. And if you get sick because of that, you can't go to the decay side of life and say, you're going to help me, right? Because you're already in the decay side of life. Jensen bought into that. And he farted constantly. And I've already showed you, and you that come to class get to see his colon and endoscopy before and after I worked on him. And this is the man that wrote the book, and I love him, but he had black bowels. You cannot eat foods that are fermented, and let's look at it this way. Everybody's bitching about candida and fungus, and you want to eat fermented foods? They're full of it. When you're talking about carbohydrates, they're full of fungus. That's what breaks carbohydrates down, is more fungus. So you're blaming, you want to eat fermented foods, but you don't want to have fungus in your body. I don't get that. It's kind of like where you used to give nutritional yeast. We used to give brewer's yeast and nutritional yeast. Then we go, no. Crazy. And then you want to eat raw yogurts and stuff like that. Stuff like that. And it's just playing in fields of dreams where there's no remedy and everybody's lost because there's no understanding of spirituality and God and nature much. It's just pieces. This side is about the whole and putting all those pieces together, throwing away those things that are ridiculous and that don't work and that's crap, and putting together a solid, strong, focused, new system of healing. I would love to return the naturopathy word, but I tell you, they've gotten so kicked in the mud because of medical doctors and stuff that it's disgusting. And naturopaths recommending high-protein diets and sickening stuff like this. Hurting people worse is not what we're here for. And it's not difficult. Keep it simple, because if your world revolves 100% around your food and your health and your diet, you're missing life. You got to get to where your diet and your food isn't your central thinking. This is what you're doing to get well, and it does take a lot of attention and self-discipline, but go beyond that and realize that there are worlds and universes that you can have fun in and explore. Even this one, even if you didn't look at that and you said, I can have more fun with this one. Okay. But when you make something like diseases and pain and all this crap your central thought, you're missing out on so much of life. Health should be something that's assured by what you're eating. That's why the Creator created all the different vertebrae, the different levels, the different things. Man just got lost. And someone has been helping to suppress man. Well, the masters are here like and never before seen. I've seen so many beings that I just can't even tell you. I'll bring you a whole bunch of pictures and to show you a whole bunch of spiritual beings that we've been able to sketch and to show you who they are. So it shows you, like the one guy said here, there are big things coming, guys, and you're a major part of that. Get excited. Get excited. So, to get your kidneys filtering, you've got to, for me, any astringent fruit will be helpful. That's your subacid and your acid fruits. Astringents. Some of the herbs are astringent herbs. Your lymphatic herbs are astringent, like that one guy seeing some pink urine. The lymphatic formulas are astringent. And if your kidneys are really acidic and really sensitive, you can get some bleeding from astringents. It's just the way it is. You get bleeding without them. That's the problem. But you have to clean to fix. So we use kidney formulas. We always recommend, and we even tell them back there, anybody orders a lymphatic formula, we highly tell them we highly recommend that you do a kidney formula with it. Because you're going in and trying to move a system through blocked doors. And you're only going to hurt yourself. You got to open those doors. And herbs and subacid and acid fruits are, to me, the best way to do this, because I haven't seen anybody do it in any other way, to be honest with you. So there's a lot of herbs for kidneys out there. We have kidney formulas. You can look at the herbs in our formulas to see what we used. But we have 4 kidney formulas, and that's what we go after. Always go after the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys. Don't forget, they're the controlling figure here. So go after those adrenal glands always. I know I didn't finish what I was talking about, and I don't know. I'm talking about the adrenals and neurotransmitters. Let me see what else. Maybe she'll pull this back in here. Oh, yeah. So, getting the adrenals up gives your neurotransmitters up. Now, what would be a very simple suggestion to get your kidneys filtering? Facebook. What would be a very simple idea that you could pass on to your clients to get them to filter better? Relax. Quit worrying so much. Just relax. Let everybody else worry. Just relax. And now your neurotransmitter shift will go from the epinephrines to the dopamines. You can equate this easy, and we talked about this before, when you're on a trip. You know, when I first started going to Portugal, oh my God, the stress. You know, I tell you, I had an incredible experience in Portugal, though. The Portuguese people, I mean, everyone is beautiful people. And I really love the Portuguese people. And I remember that, and you know, we hadn't passed customs yet, so we were bringing in hundreds and hundreds of herbs, and so we didn't want to avoid customs, but we were waiting to get our customs approval, and so we were bringing in a lot of herbs, and so I was with my significant other, and then I had a Portuguese woman that was working for me at the time, and her husband. And I had a whole cart full of my suitcases, and I had my camera, my white camera cases up there. And so we went through this rounded area here with glass sliding doors that opened up automatically, and then the lady that's a Portuguese lady could speak Portuguese. I can't speak Portuguese. Obrigado is about the only thing I heard. But, you know, they went through customs, and the soldiers there, and they went on through the other door, and I'm going through. And the lights come on, the door's shut, and I'm going, uh-oh, I'm going to jail. I got all these herbs and everything, and I said, I don't speak Portuguese. So this soldier walked up, because the main guy walked up, and he looks at my whole big rack of suitcases and stuff, and he says, "What's in those white boxes?" And I'm going, "Oh, that's my camera." He says, "Oh, that's your tools?" I said, "Well, it's a camera. I'm a doctor from America." "Oh, you're the doctor from America that cures cancer?" And I'm going, "Well, don't say that." But he said, "You're the medical doctor that cures cancer? We're waiting on here." I said, "Open up, open up." And I mean, we were escorted out. And I sat there and I started crying. Oh, wow. Powerful stuff, guys. When I went on their television show, they have a show there with this guy is a famous guy, he married a model and everything, and he wined and dined me pretty good. But I was on his television show. And the first time I was on that show, I filled up a naturopathic calendar for 2 years straight, and they had about 10,000 calls a day to the television show. They couldn't keep up with them. People didn't realize they could overcome their problems. They've been lied to. The truth has been hidden from them. And these poor suffering people didn't realize there's a remedy out there for them. And that's true everywhere, guys. There's always a remedy. You just have to find it. But if you're looking for treatment of diseases and a remedy in the death side of life, you're going to be looking a long time. So relax. That'll help shift your neurotransmitters, get your adrenals up, Go into kidney formulas and get on some fruits, berries, and melons, and that's the quickest way I know. Now, someone we did, and I just, maybe I touched on it before, but about the pituitary gland. I'm going to cut off here and come back later and do more. The pituitary gland. I had a little 3-year-old girl that had a brainstem tumor. And the family called me up and we put her on fruit. And I had to get the herbs to her, and that takes over at least a day or two. And she was scheduled, fairly quick here, within a few days or something like that, if I remember. And I told her mom to keep pushing that off if we can, a little further down the road, because she was showing improvement in her symptoms with just the fruit. So this went on for about 2 weeks. And, the pressure and everything, she had to get it done. So I said, don't worry about it, because we'll repair any damage the surgeon does to the girl. And so the surgeon came out after the surgery and told the mother, said, I don't know what's up here. She said, when I opened her up, the tumor literally popped out into my hand. He said, I've never seen anything like that. He said, that tumor just popped out at me, right at me, just like I wanted out there. And I'm going, whoa, that's pretty cool. So after that was all done, the little girl had trouble holding her urine at night, bedwetting. And the surgeon told the mother that there was a part of the pituitary controls that, and that was probably the problem. Now, I don't know if that was a true statement, but that got me thinking about filtration. Is there something to do with the pituitary, a hormone or something? Is there something involved there that controls filtration? I really don't think so, to be honest with you. I think the kidneys are just like any other tissue in the body. They survive. They're the last to go. And everything else gets acidic and stormed, and finally the kidneys themselves start to go. They get dehydrated interstitially. They get acidic interstitially. You start popping cysts in them, things like this. I can speak from experience. And I see many others. We get tumors on the adrenals, tumors on the kidney. So we get interstitial cystitis. So, to me, there's no magic to this. It's a rehydration process that happens when you start eating more base balanced foods, more living foods. The chemistry is appropriate. This starts to hydrate interstitially. At the same time, you're working on kidneys, getting them healthier, getting the adrenals healthier, which is all you can do. And so at that time, when you start that filtration and that hydration, you start seeing things go down. Your pain starts to go down. Because there's no question that acidosis is pain producing. So anything that's base neutralizes that. So when you're in pain, you don't add heat because that'll increase the pain. You add cold, and that cools it down. Well, come to another end of a video, but I don't want to make them too long because, it's hard enough. I appreciate it quite a bit when you sit down and spend a couple of hours of your life viewing these videos. My heart goes out to you. My help is available to you to get your health back. And if you want a shortcut to spirituality and how to understand yourself more, that's a good thing too. It's all about you and your happiness and what do you want out of life? You want to sit around and always associate yourself to the decay side of life, or do you want to associate yourself to the beauty and the love and others and all life forms? It's fun to love all life forms and to interact with plants and animals and other humans that have the same love. It's harder to deal with humans, always. When I was more of a hermit, it was hard to get back into society again. Because of the human condition. It's so opinionated, so diversified in terms of emotions. And there's so much negativity within the human consciousness. You don't run against that so much in plant and animal life. Although you see it more as consciousness matures toward the human consciousness. You do see more of that. But then you see more duality and more self-consciousness developing itself into that. Very, very hard to explain over YouTube in terms of that sort of thing. But it is a big pleasure to always spend time with you guys. I love you so much. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all your gifts and your beautiful things. Each of you write your books. Write your books and tell the world your suffering and what you did to find your remedy. and help others to find their remedy. That's what this is about, helping others to find who they are and to find that joy and happiness, because like a ripples in the ocean. It'll go out and we'll all have a happier world to have and manifest. But still, remember, cause and effect. This is a karma-driven level. And it's simply cause and effect. If you don't like what you're experiencing in your life, change it. Because you're the only one that can change your world. Don't buy into the fact that you need others to do that. You got all you need. We'll help you pull yourself out of hell, build a well, build. You got plenty of great Facebook souls here, spiritual beings that were sent here to do this. And they're awakening themselves. It's just a great thing, and I'm honored to spend time with you. So may the blessings be. Namaste, Baraka Bashad, all the love. Bye-bye.